So we're trying to, again, find an explicit formula for these terms. And when we looked at the first differences, which are actually written right here, so for example, minus 17, take away minus 19 is the 2. Okay, 9 minus negative 17 is the 26, etc. When we looked at these first differences, we could not find a pattern, but when we looked at the second differences, we saw that there was a common multiplier of 3. And what that means is that 3 to the n is part of the formula for this sequence. So in other words, a sub n is equal to 3 to the n plus some other explicit formula that defines it. So what you can do is to figure out what that is subtract off 3 to the n from each of the a sub n terms. In other words, here's a sub 1, take away 3 to the first. Here's a sub 2, take away 3 to the second. Here's a sub 3, take away 3 to the third. And generate this new sequence and try and find a formula for that. So we do this again, and we look at the differences here, minus 26, take away negative 22, and we look at the differences here, etc. And we see that the first time through, it's very difficult to decipher a formula, but that the second time through, again, we're seeing a common multiplier of 3. So that means, again, that 3 to the n is another term that we need in the formula for a sub n. So a sub n is equal to 3 to the n plus another 3 to the n, and then we have to figure out what's left. So I'm going to then take these terms here and subtract off powers of 3. So here's the first term of what's left, and I'm going to subtract off 3 to the first, the second term, and subtract off 3 to the second, etc. And then I generate these. And so I notice this is a really easy sequence to find a formula for. So what it's saying is that if the first term were negative 25 and the second term were negative 35, etc., what would the formula for that look like? Well, that's easy. This is just a common rate of change of minus 10, so that would be minus 10n take away 15. Right? You can even get that 15 by going back to what it would have been at 0. Right? So what that means is that that's something that we're looking for is minus 10n minus 15. And a sub n is equal to 2 times 3 to the n, there's 2 of them, minus 10n minus 15. Yeah, this is easier.